Welcome to the Floor Academy podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Hadeen, owner of Illustrious Hardwoods in Mesa, Arizona. With me this week is Angie Weber, owner of Nico Tati Designs and a former winner of Small Bathroom Renovation of the Year at Coverings, I want to say, right? Yes. Okay, I got it right. Floor Academy is here to help support you because I don't want you to own a job. I want you to own an asset. I don't even want you to own a business. I want you to own an asset. I want it to be something that's going to help you be able to come back time and time again with very little input and direction, right? Like you can stand at the top and point and people will go where you want them to go. If you want to be hands-on, you can be hands-on, but you don't have to be the guy on the floor. You don't have to be the guy in the office 8 hours a day. And that's really where this discussion is going to go today is I know what it's like. Angie knows what it's like. I'm sure you know what it's like to start a business and it just becomes a time suck and everything becomes about the business 24 hours a day. You're sleeping and you're dreaming about it and you're awake and your husband or wife needs something or your significant other or the kids or the dog or the client, and then the client that's 2 weeks down the road is calling you and asking that. It's always something. But you know what? We got to have limits. We got to have boundaries. And sometimes that's a very hard learned lesson. And that's what we're going to explore today. But before we jump into that and we have Angie introduce herself, for over 65 years, Latacrete has been a leading manufacturer of products and systems covering tile and stone installation, masonry veneer installation, resinous and decorative floor finishes, concrete construction chemicals, and concrete restoration. They offer an array of low VOC and sustainable products. Their products can contribute to LEED certification, exceed commercial and residential VOC building requirements, and are backed by the most comprehensive warranties in the industry. For more information on Latacrete and the products they offer, visit latacrete.com. And you know what? I want to jump in on this. This is bonus. It's Latacrete, folks. It's not Latacrete because it's latex and concrete. Latex and concrete. Latacrete. So come at me if you need to. Go find one of these posts when this episode's out and you comment if you want to fight about it. But I'll fight you about it because it's latex and concrete. Angie, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? What's like the 30,000 foot overview for you?
I'm still recovering from that Latacrete. It's like when it never clicked. It's like when people say disposal instead of disposal. My mind is just, how do I continue? I don't know how to recover from that.
Oh, I moved from Arizona to the Midwest, and so it's there's two ways to pronounce bag, but there's not. It's just a bag.
Oh gosh. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. I love getting to be a part of, our industry and our community. And I'm really blessed that you would have me on. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I've been in the industry. I started off as just like a project coordinator for a remodeling company in Dallas. And I hated babysitting the guys. I didn't like babysitting grown men, installers.
Mm-hmm.
But that never ends. It never ends, no matter what your position is. And one day, my boss was just like, why don't you try designing? Like, you have a talent. Why don't you go to school, take some classes? And it just evolved from there. Mm-hmm. And that's where, So that's how I ended up here. I won a design award for small remodeling category at Coverings a couple of years ago during COVID. So that was really fun. And it was, really cool because it was the very first project that my boss just kind of let me loose and said, run with it. And It was great. And learned a lot. And of course, coverings and all of that is one of my favorite times of year.
Yes. No, definitely a very fun event. It's always good to get together, see everybody, see the products, and just there's a lot going on. We left out that you are founder Texas Tile Posse.
Not well. I'm one of the admins,
Okay.
and I'm the girl, the woman resident. The girl admin, and I'm the spicy one. I'm the one that gets mad at all of the guys because they don't. That's just me. Anyone who knows me knows that I just love to pick fights with literally everyone. It's my love language.
Yes, I'll fight just for the sake of fighting. I may agree with you, but I'll fight just for the sake of fighting. It's fun. So.
Yes.
So if you're in Texas and you want to know what's going on in Texas, look, I know you guys are a big state, okay? I get it. But they got a really good bunch over there, and they're working on building a really great community. So if you're in Texas and you're listening, go join Texas Tile Posse on Facebook. And I know they're working on getting get-togethers in the future, and they're really good about posting any events they know coming through town. And it doesn't matter what area of Texas you're in, they're pretty good about covering everywhere. They're not just focused on the big cities. So make sure you're checking that out. I want to go back because you were working for a company, right? And so I think this is the entrepreneur trap is we realize we're good at something and we say, I can do that. I can be the boss. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you go out on your own and you're like, man, I'm really good at this. But then you realize that there's scheduling and marketing and advertising and the books in the back that nobody wants to deal with, and there's just a box of receipts and what else? Oh, then someone has a complaint from 3 weeks ago and you got to go deal with that, right? Like things just kind of pop up, and then 5 people call at once and you got to figure out how to get back to all of them and not like ignore somebody. And you're like, oh wait, hold on, this is overwhelming. Like, how do I fit this all into a day? Like, you go from somebody that's working as part of a team, and you have a set role, right? You are one cog in the machine, and then you go to having to be the entire machine. So, what was that transition like for you, from going from like working for this firm, running the guys, kind of becoming a designer, to saying, I'm just going to be a designer on my own full time? But then I'm sure it kind of almost blew up in your face. And it's not that you're not being successful, but it was like, you were probably like, whoa, I have so much more than I thought even existed.
Yeah. Well, first, let me say that I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't want to start my own company. I wanted to grow, and I wanted to grow within this company, but unfortunately I just couldn't. There's a ceiling, and I had shattered it, and there was just nowhere else to go. So I created my company out of a need, and part of that need was wanting to grow, and also the need of wanting to be there for my children. My kid had been bugging me for 2 years straight to be in a sport, and I just couldn't commit to that because I was always working, and I was working for someone else. And so I was, I was letting him down in that sense. And so finally I was just like, okay, this is just the time to do it. It was literally from one day to the next, and it was hard. And it was, for the first couple of months, it was just like a roller coaster of emotions. I was excited, and I was so like pumped, like I'm going to make this happen. It's going to be awesome. And then at the same time, it was like, what the hell did I do? It's like jumping in the water without floaties, like you've prepared, how to swim, but it's like now for the first time, it's me. And there is no crash course of of how to start a business or how to, the ins and outs of what you need to do, insurance and payroll and taxes and, LLCs and all of this other stuff. It was really, really hard. But it's gotten a lot better, which is great.
I think that's a great analogy of like jumping in the water without floaties.
Right.
It's you start learning and you like, okay, I don't need the safety thing, but you get in the water and you're freaked out anyways, and there's no need for it. But I think you psych yourself up mentally, and that's one of the difficulties. So I think, man, that's really interesting. Like your child is bothering you, and I think a lot of parents just ignore that and they don't hear that and see it as like, this is actually a real issue. And so I commend you for being like, you know what? No, this is a big problem. Like I need to get him what he wants and where he wants to be and what he wants to be involved in. And then I need to be there during that time. So
yeah,
how has starting a company is not easy. So how long did it take between starting the company and saying like, yeah, I'll take care of you, to like actually getting him into a sport?
So over the summer, last summer, he did like YMCA type sports, which he hadn't done before. Mm-hmm. And then this last summer, he went to sailing camp. So he's never done camp before. And now he's in baseball. And, and it is hard. I mean, let me tell you, it is hard trying to be super mom and take care of clients and scheduling and all of these, the back end of the business, meeting, deadlines. And it's hard, but it's been one of those things where I feel like, my parents were not at my volleyball games growing up, and I resented that. Mm-hmm. And I don't want my kid to resent me. And I don't want to look back and be like, oh my gosh, I've missed so much. I think that that's what a lot of people say, especially like my parents or grandparents, or just, the older generation just always says, you blink and your kids are grown. And I just don't want to miss that, because mm-hmm. I was trying to make, something better, or trying to, I feel like I can do both. And I'm finally in a place in my life where I feel like I can do both. I can manage a business and I can manage baseball and sailing camp. Mm-hmm. And I can, manage, I have a 40-gallon tank filled with lizards right now. So that's
hey, we do puppies.
So we're managing.
Yeah, they're not puppies anymore, but we do dogs, and we've been through. My son, like he found a Chihuahua. We let him keep it. Worst decision ever. This thing was just a backyard escape Chihuahua. Older, just peed everywhere in the house. So for like 2 years, I had to step over a board in and out of my kitchen, because if it was contained in the kitchen, it wouldn't pee in my house. So that dog sadly left us, and then he went probably a good couple months, 6 months maybe, without something. We finally let him get another dog, and this thing tragically has some congenital thing going on, and died a month after getting it on the table at the vet. I know, right? So now this kid has
That's
two
traumatic.
dogs. Yes, 2 dogs down, neither one his fault. And I'm like, what do we do? I was like, I don't want to buy him a dog just to replace the dog, but it was a present to him. It's not his fault the dog died. What do we do? And so you go out of your way for your kids, I think, and you do these things. And so he got another dog, which was a whole nother thing. That one irked me, but it's not that I love the dog. There's other things that irked me about it. It was just a lot of money out at once after spending all this money on a first dog. Money's replaceable though, and I think that's the thing. Is I listened to another podcast, and the guy sacrificed a ton. Like he could have been a lawyer and he dropped out of law school and becoming a lawyer, and he worked jobs making like $24,000 to $30,000 a year for years and years and years as his kids were growing up. But he was there every day when they got home after school, and he was able to like put him to bed and take him to the bus in the morning and like go to this, do his work thing in between. And they didn't get big grand vacations or anything like that, but he was there and he was present and he was able to like play with them. And I think that's the thing we miss is you get your business and you start a business because you're frustrated, right? You were like, there's nowhere for me to go at work.
Right.
And I don't have enough time. But then you get wrapped up in it and you're like, this takes up all my time and you're not able to do the thing. So how has it been setting the boundaries and being able to say, nope, it's after 5 o'clock, like the phone is off, or, it's Saturday, I'm not answering the phone, I'm not going to go look at a project, I'm just, how has that been for you to learn, and where have you put limits?
I think one of the things is the constant emotional inner battle of saying no, or fear of failure. What are other people going to think? What is this client going to think? If I don't say yes to this, then I'm going to be known as the designer or, the company that says no all the time. Mm-hmm. Or, so a lot of that I had to drown out those thoughts and those feelings of I'm going to fail, because I felt that was bringing me down, and I just needed to stop caring what other people thought and making up these scenarios in my head that hadn't even they were non-existent scenarios. I was just, going crazy in my head about it. Mm-hmm. And it was very damaging. And so now, we do bedtime, even if it takes us an hour. We do bedtime routines. We try to, I try to keep my phone off or on silent, or in a different room. I have 2 phones. I have my personal phone and I have my business phone. And when I'm at home, I try to keep my business phone on silent and just, check it if I absolutely have to. Obviously, if I have like guys on a job site, or if I know that something important is going on, then I won't keep it on silent. But for the most part, I've really been trying to, just set those boundaries. And it's not necessarily 5 or 6 or, a certain cutoff time, because as a business owner, your phone is your lifeline. That's where I pay my bills there. I do my marketing there. My emails are there. Everything is, your phone is your office. And so I try not to, but I think one of the most important things is that, my 8-year-old knows how to use a phone. Mm-hmm. My 2-year-old doesn't. And so she's, and I think that is kind of, it makes me proud, because at his age, when Michael was 2, he was scrolling through the iPad and mm-hmm. doing this and that. And then my 2-year-old, she's just like, what do I do with this? And it's just so new and weird to her.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a huge difference in just having the phone around and being able to validate feelings when they're crying or they're upset or whatever it may be, just being in the moment. And I think that's one of the things that I still struggle with, but every day is better, and I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. I make mistakes daily, but I try to be better the next day.
Mm-hmm. Well, we lead by example, right? Especially with our kids, they're just sponges. And so That's an interesting
Yes.
point, that one child like was like, yeah, hey, I need you to be busy, like, here, have this thing, right? It'll occupy you, you'll figure it out. I did the same thing with my son. And it's now you have boundaries, and you're better set up, you're paying more attention, you're trying more, and it's not that you weren't trying before, but right, like you've seen kind of effects and results, and you're like, okay, this isn't cool,
Hmm.
we need to go about this a different way. And now the child has, your younger child has a totally different view of how all of it works, and can't work it, because you're actually there, like,
Right.
interacting and playing it and doing it. And you want to know what, folks, your employees are the same way. So
Hmm.
this is a really valuable lesson of, like, you may say, I'm the boss, I need my phone. Well, yes, I 100% agree with you. However, maybe you need to excuse yourself and go outside to the truck and around the corner and make all your calls and do your work, and then come back and work, as opposed to being right there on the job site, being on your phone while you're telling them what to do. Like, it's just out of sight, out of mind, right? They're not going to pick up on that. And so
Right. And it's
that's
something
very
that I even
valuable.
started doing at job sites. I used to take notes on my phone,
Mhm.
under notes, and I would just start a punch list on my phone. But of course, when you have your phone out and you're getting messages and calls, it's an interruption to that punch list, whether it's with the client or the installer or the contractor or whoever.
Mhm.
And so I've even stopped doing it then. And if I'm in a consultation or doing a punch list, the only time my phone comes out during a walkthrough is for pictures. And I have my notepad and I'll just write everything down. And, of course, I'll get in my car and drive 5 minutes away. And of course, I'm like, oh my gosh, my phone, I have all these missed calls. And, I have to upload all, my notes and do all
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
stuff. But I think that it makes a difference with our clients. And I think that it makes a difference with, the installers and the
Yeah,
contractors and the guys that we have on the team, because they deserve undivided attention as
for
well.
sure, for
And
sure.
whether there's frustrations on the client or the installer side, they both need to be validated. And you can't do that with a phone in your hand. You just
Mhm.
can't, especially with messages coming in and all of these other distractions. So it's not just at home, but I'm trying everywhere. So
Well, I think we remember better writing stuff down, like that old, like, yeah, you're typing it into your phone, but I don't feel that's the same as, like, when you're verbally listening to somebody and then you're actually having to, like, hand write it out, that tactile feel, that actual spelling. Like, I don't know. I think you just end up remembering things better, and you're going to get a more clear picture. And so I like having my notebook out. I try not to use my phone when I'm doing that with people, especially because you never know what they're thinking. They're like, oh, they're on their phone, right? Like,
right,
oh, they're not taking notes about our are they on Facebook? Are they replying to a text? Like, what are
right.
they doing? Whereas if you have a notebook and a pen or a pencil, they're like, oh, like, they're actively engaged with me. It's a better look. I want to go back a
Hmm.
little bit, and I think the just lost it. I love that I do this show live and edit nothing. The setting the boundaries, that's what it was. Okay, so
Mhm.
I don't want to work with a client that doesn't understand that I have boundaries or a family. And so that fear you had at the beginning, I think that's something I did too, right? I'd answer every phone call. If I wasn't doing anything, I'd rush out right away to go look at a project. I wouldn't schedule it 2 or 3 days down the road. And now I'm like, I don't care. I don't.
Hmm.
If you call me and I don't feel like going out for 3 days, I'm not going out for 3 days. I'll look at my calendar and be like, I can do it
Right.
next Tuesday. There was one point where I was booking estimates 2 weeks out because I was that busy. And folks were like,
Yeah.
okay with it. They either told me, like, yeah, I want to wait because I want you, or no, we're in a rush. We don't want to do that. Okay. Or, do you work weekends? No, I don't. I have kids. That's their time. I can give you Monday through Friday these hours, and that's what I'm going to work. And there's, you know, I work a couple weekends a year, I won't lie, but it's generally my decision, and I make sure there's absolutely nothing going on. I'm not going to work on my kid's birthday. I'm not going to work a big
Right.
holiday, or if there's like we did Cub Scouts forever. I'm not going to like ruin a camp out or anything like that. But if I get behind on a project, like, yeah, I'll step it up and try and get it done by the date I said I would, but I'm not going to do it every weekend. Or I might put in a couple extra hours on Thursday, but I'm going to talk about it with my wife or whatever first and be like, is there anything going on? But that wasn't the case at first. It was like, I have to be here.
Right.
I have to do this. And so it was always 12-hour days, and then going to an estimate, and that turned into another 2 hours. And so now I'm 14 hours into the day, and I'm getting home and my dinner's in the microwave and the kids are getting ready for bed. And then I throw off the entire routine because she had them almost settled down, and I'm walking in the house and oh, Daddy's home. Yeah. All right. Right. It's like party time because Dad's the fun guy. And then they don't go to bed. So not only was it important for me to learn the boundary so that we could have a more effective like home life, and I still screw that up, but that's on me, and I admit that. But it was healthier for the business. Like, you have to have a time to shut it off.
Yes.
What has that been like to just learn, like, done, stop. We're not doing this anymore. Angie needs to be Angie, not Nico Tati Designs.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've changed doing was giving the reason why I couldn't do something. You know, like I was, you know, oh, can you come out on Saturday? Oh no, I'm so sorry. You know, my kid, this or that. I stopped giving an excuse of why I couldn't do that, because I just felt like I didn't owe the client or the contractor or anyone an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like my word was enough. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. These are the dates that I'm available. And so once I started being comfortable with just saying no without an excuse attached, it was like that was a weight lifted off my shoulders, you know. And one of the techie things that I do is I'll put my work phone, it's an iPhone, so you can put it on like bedtime mode.
Yeah.
So it just automatically just doesn't give you any notifications. And so I do that. That's kind of a little techie thing. I also charge it in my bathroom rather than in my nightstand. So that if it does go off, then I'm like, this better be worth walking over there. Usually it's not, because it's something stupid. And so I've learned to ignore it. But, you know, I come from, you know, a work environment where before it was, you know, I would start my day at 5:00 in the morning with 100% battery. And by 10 a.m. it was, you know, at 10%. And I was praised for that. You know, I'm like, good job. Like, oh man, I'm working, I'm doing something. Am I though? Am I like, it's 10. I'm exhausted. Like my phone's about to die. Like, what have I actually done in the last 5 hours? You know, and I still have the rest of the day to go. And so it was, you know, like the other day that I think you had commented on a post where it was just, my phone is dying. Do I plug it in and keep receiving the messages?
Yeah. That person was being nasty. Oh.
Do I plug it in or do I let it die? But if I let it die, then I stop the messages of him and everyone else. And I let it die because it was so close to the end of the day. I had such a rough day, and I came home grumpy. And my 8-year-old was like, Mama, are you upset? Are you grumpy? Do you want me to leave you alone? And I was like, no, we're going to just let the phone die, and we're just not going to deal with it, you know, because he's he's 8. He shouldn't have to, I'm projecting, and he shouldn't feel that from me. You know, I don't think any child should, but it's been, I'm definitely learning by error and by mistakes. And I'm learning what I don't want to do. And I'm learning, you know, I'm my own worst enemy and my best friend at the same time.
Yes. I want to rephrase one thing because I think this is a mindset problem, not with you. I moved my mic today, folks. I'm sorry. I've hit it like 5 times. It's driving me nuts. I can't find a good spot on my desk for it. So it's not you. This is just like, I don't even know if it's an American culture thing. I think it might just be like a thing we all do. And you didn't fail. I think the only time you can truly fail is when you don't learn a lesson. If you do something and you don't succeed, it just gets you one step closer to the point where you're going to succeed. And so as long as you're learning and growing, it's all good. Because how many times I think kids learning to ride a bike is the perfect example. They get frustrated, but they realize they're getting a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, so they keep trying. But like when you give a kid a math problem or an adult a math problem and you're like, here, go do this, and like, I can't get it, I suck, I failed, like I'm not good at it. What's the difference between riding a bike and the math? Nothing. Like you had to keep doing it over and over to learn the skill. And this is a really good example. Is you're going to go into business, you're going to make mistakes, but they're not failures as long as you have a takeaway from it and you can apply it in the future to get better, right? Like, how do I change my business? I think what you said about not offering up like excuses to the clients, I don't do that either. Like if I have something going on, I just tell you what I have going on. Sorry, I got to go have dinner, or sorry, my kids have a thing, or no, I don't work weekends. That's my time. Like I sell my time Monday through Friday. I don't sell my time on weekends. If you don't like my business model, I live in Phoenix. There's 4.5 million people. I think there's probably 5 flooring stores within like a mile and a half of my house. Go pick one of them. I don't care. You either want to work with me or you don't. And there's plenty of work. Now, granted, okay, you live in a rural area. Okay. Maybe you need to be a little more picky and like accommodating, but I doubt it, because at some point, like, we do this for us. Why can I not set my rules? Now, you got to be able to sell your time and be personable. Like you can't just piss everybody off and call your clients names and whatnot. Like there's some rules to running a business, but if you don't want to work weekends, don't work weekends. Don't get sucked into, well, I need it done. It's a floor. It's a shower. It's not an emergency. I only have one shower in my house. I'll tell you what, I know that I'm never ever going to get that thing done while I live here, because I'm going to take a vacation. I'm going to hire somebody to come in during the 2 weeks I'm gone. They probably only need a week, and they'll do it then. I'll come back. It'll be done. No worries, right? And then if something goes wrong, they got a whole nother week to figure it out. It's easy on everybody. So but for the most part, right, there's usually an extra shower. There's usually somewhere else in the house to live. You can live on a concrete floor. It's still an upgrade from dirt floors. What's the emergency?
Exactly. And I think that getting roped into someone else's, unneeded emotional distress over flooring, over a shower or whatever, is just really silly. And it takes up a lot of time, in whether it's arguing or whether it's trying to calm the nerves of the client or whatever it is. It's just, and I think a lot of that, I avoid a lot of that. I have a client questionnaire. So every client that I, I get that calls me, I have a 5-10 minute conversation with them, and then I send them a questionnaire, 15 to 20 questions, and they fill it out, and that's what I honestly base my clients off of. And just depending on how they respond to that, if they first red flag is, if it's November 1 and they're like, oh, we need to get rid, it has to be done before Thanksgiving. No, sorry.
Yep.
I'm not the one. I'm so sorry. Here's a list of recommendations, or even if they say before Christmas, nope. I know that's 2 months away, but nope, because, I was in the remodeling world and construction. Anything that can happen will happen.
Yep.
And especially in Dallas and North Texas, traffic is unpredictable. Weather is unpredictable. And there's just too many variables. And if you don't set super clear expectations and communication, and just try to be as transparent of the process as possible, then you're shooting yourself in the foot, So I try to always just be upfront as possible without, bearing all of me. I can't leave a little bit with each client. It's too much.
No, there'd be nothing left to give, right? If you're going to leave yourself with anybody, it's with the kids that you have. Like, that's the commitment you've made, and there has to be something left at the end of the day to give them. So
exactly.
I like it. I'm gonna interrupt this for 1 second. It's time to make your plans to travel to Las Vegas with me to hit the show floor at the International Surface event. Our sponsor, Tice, has provided me an incredible offer for you. You can now register for a free exhibits pass with code KYLE, Kyle, for those who can't spell my name. Registration is open online at www.intlsurfaceevent.com/register. It's all happening in Las Vegas the 31st of January through February 2nd, 2023. Plus, don't miss our special podcast episode this December, which will give you the inside scoop on what's happening at the event. Homeowner tenure is at an 8-year low, with average length of ownership being 6.31 years. During ongoing times of building material supply constraints, does a 25-year or lifetime warranty on your materials mean anything anymore? John's Manville Go Board offers a limited 10-year manufacturer warranty on all its products and a list of approved alternative products covered under our warranty. Don't hold up your job because you can't piece together a full system. Visit www.jm.com/GoBoard for more information. All right, Angie. What kind of, you've implemented things, right? Like you got a questionnaire for clients. You're getting the nitty gritty on them, and you don't make excuses anymore. You just tell people like, no, I'm not available. What kind of negative effects has that had on your business since you've slowly implemented all of these things?
I'm going to be the loser that says I don't think it has been negative.
That's the answer I wanted.
Yeah, I don't think it has been negative because I'm present with the clients that I have. I'm present in each phone call and conversation. And I mean, there was a point where I had, 8 jobs at a time, and I couldn't be there. I wasn't able to even do a walkthrough once a week. And that, you're hiring me and I'm not going to show up to your job site at all. So I didn't like that. And so I don't think it has been negative. And, there's been people who are, I haven't been greeted with, this is unacceptable, or, what kind of company are you? I haven't been greeted with any of that. Yeah. And people either want to wait or they don't. And that's okay. And I've had a couple of callbacks, for, a couple of months later after the initial phone call and say, we messed up and this person did our shower and there's a leak, can you help us? And they were, at the beginning, 4 months ago, they didn't want to wait for me and they didn't want to wait for my team. And so now they're calling me back.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's rewarding. But I don't think that it is negative, because it gives me, I'm very blessed with steady work.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, I'm doing what I absolutely love. My passion is design with function. And a lot of the Texas Tile Posse guys, especially Timothy, amazing guy, member of the NTCA. I don't think that there's a design that I don't run past him, whether it's how do I do this, or, do I really need to do this, or, can I get away with putting marble in the shower? I know you're going to say no, but just hear me out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's just I'm able to focus on just the smaller little details, and I'm able to push out, what I actually want. And I don't, so no, I don't, there's nothing negative about
how long did it take you to get over the head trash of it? Because we all think the clients are going to give us pushback when you say, no, I can't do something, right? Or like, that deadline's not realistic, or we all think they're going to leave, they're going to walk away, they're going to do whatever. So how long did it take you to get over that head trash and realize, like, they don't care? Like, I think we think we're so much more important than we are. And we build it up to be like, oh, clients are the most evil people on earth. They're just so demanding, and like, pick better clients. Like, this is what boundaries are for.
Well, and that's the thing, is that I've yet to, when I was saying yes to everything and giving excuses as to why I couldn't do things, I was having a lot of problems juggling with clients, juggling with the guys, unhappy homeowners, all of these things. And it was my own fear, it was my own self-doubt and my own, quote, fear of failure. And so once I let go of that, I mean, it was literally just like I was just done with it. And it took a while. It wasn't night and day, but it was several months. It was lots of tears. It was lots of fighting. It was lots of calls to, Joe Fowler from Texas Tile Posse. He's out of Arlington, and Timothy, and a lot of, our fellow Texas folks of like, oh my gosh, these people are mad at me, and what do I do? And, it was just too much. And it was me, because really the client was just like, oh, okay, no problem. Like, let me know when the tile is in, or, oh, half of the tile is broken. No worries. Like, just let me know when you get it. The client was just so cool, calm, and collected. And it was me. It was me who had just the constant emotional distress. And that is such a crappy way to live, and I didn't want that. And I didn't want it for my kids. I didn't want my kids seeing me that way. And of course, I have a very intuitive 8-year-old, and I didn't want to be stressed at base. My kid went to sailing camp, in a lake. I hate lakes. You can't see the bottom. And there's rumors of alligators in that lake. I did not need any more stress in my life. So it was just, but it took a while, and now it's just like, okay, but shit happens.
Well, it's construction, right? Like you said, if something can go wrong, it's going to go wrong. You never know what's going to happen when you start a project on a Monday. There's generally always a problem. It is what it is. Deal with it and move on, right? Sign a change order, tell them it's going to take a couple extra days, and go forward. Like, we build it up to be so much more than what it is, and it's so much more important. And even I have started learning, like, just stop. Like,
Right.
Whatever happens, happens. I think where the problem in lies, and where, just from like seeing so many conversations online, having my own experiences, the only time I've ever had a problem with clients is when communication got screwed up. And it's
Mm-hmm.
probably because something was verbally said, not written down, didn't understand the agreement right. Words get twisted 2 weeks down the road, 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, whatever it's going to take to do this. And all of a sudden something you said is, well, it was this. No, 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 no.
Right.
This is why, if you have a like personal conversation with the client, follow up with an email, follow up with a text
Mm-hmm.
message saying, hey, just wanted to make sure, here's what we discussed. Here's what the outcomes are going to be, so that it's written down somewhere, and then they can respond yes or no, or like, I misunderstood you here. But there's something written down and concrete about it, because the minute the communication goes out the window, they don't trust you anymore. They don't want to work with you anymore. They're pissed off at you. That's
Mm-hmm.
where the bad reviews come from, because
Right.
something was just, it didn't, we weren't on the same wavelength. Like, has anybody told you, like, and left you a bad review because you told them you won't work a weekend, or you take this week off so your son can go do sailing camp? Like, that didn't happen, but you clearly communicated
No.
this is where we play, right? These are the rules, and this is how we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
And if they didn't
No, I
like
mean,
them, they probably went the other way.
right. It hasn't. And, it's happened to where a client will say, well, can you come do this estimate or come do this consultation at this time on this date? No, I'm so sorry. I'm not able to. These are my days. And it's happened twice to me already. And I've gone to an event. I went to a concert, and who's there? The client. And so it was just the wife and her sister, not the husband.
Mm-hmm.
But the wife was like, so this is why you couldn't, come to our house today. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Like, that's exactly it. Like,
I'm a human too. Like,
yeah, like this is, I had bought tickets, and it was an experience, and it was with my family, and I
mm-hmm.
didn't, I wasn't going to prioritize a maybe, because
Yeah.
that's what it is. And I mean, that's a whole other conversation about paid consultations and stuff like that, but that's a maybe. Oh my gosh.
Just do them, folks. Get paid for your time.
Yes.
But
please do. Your time is valuable from the beginning. And it's a maybe, because just because they're paying you whatever they're paying you that first time, it's still a maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're going to cancel or risk or move or whatever that may be for your own plans. And I mean, it could be anything. I'm not going to call him out, but I have an installer who is like obsessed with 90 Day Fiance or 90 Day whatever it's called. I don't watch that show. But
Love
him
that
and
show.
his girlfriend watch it. Do you?
Well, okay. No, so I have a
Not
legit.
you.
Okay, I don't watch the show anymore. I will admit, I watched the first season. I only watched the first season because, as people that have listened for a long time know, I used to work in reality television. I filmed
Mm-hmm.
the first season of 90 Day Fiance. I was a assistant camera and camera operator on that show. So the crew that I worked with
You're
no
biased.
longer does it, but the first season was excellent. Let me tell you, go back, watch the original people. They're awesome.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but even this installer with his fiance, that was their thing on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't make it, he wasn't going to be able to. And it's not like I was asking for him to be at the job site at 7:00 at night. No, the job site was 2 hours away for both of us. And by the time that he got back home, he was going to miss that routine. And he was like, I can't, dude. Like, I'm sorry. And I respected that. And
Mm-hmm.
I totally understand that. And that was an eye opener, because once you start, I think, surrounding yourself with like-minded people who we value each other's time, and if you want us, you're going to work around our schedule, and that's okay. If you can't, that's okay too. But I'm not, I sleep way better, and I'm less high strung.
Yes.
Believe it or not. And so it's changed a lot just to be able to chill.
Yeah. Well, I think that was one of the biggest lessons I learned was if you want me, you get me, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? But there's less bad and ugly than there is good when you hire my company. But I'm going to sell what I want to sell the way I want to sell it. And that's a red flag for me, is if I go in somewhere and they're trying to dictate things from the beginning, like people reach out and they're like, yeah, I want you to come out Tuesday at 3 for an estimate. Well, that's not how I work. And Tuesday's already booked, and because it's Sunday. Like, no.
Right.
And I used to be the guy that was like, I'd wake up in the middle of the night when my phone dinged and somebody sent me a Facebook message at 2 a.m. and I'm responding right away. Like it woke me up. I'm awake anyway. It's like, yeah, man, I could look at your floor on Wednesday. Like, thanks for reaching out. I appreciate it. I look like a psycho. Who answers at 2? One, why are you looking at the flooring companies at 2 a.m.? Like, what are you doing with your life? But why am I the owner responding at 2 a.m.? So that's a problem too. But when I started putting in like, no, I'll do it here, or this is the way I operate. I don't just run out and look at things. I have a consultation fee. Here's a ballpark range of where you're going to be. I know my pricing really well. You're somewhere in this range within a couple thousand one way or the other. It became so much easier, so much less stressful, and people either they're on board or they're not. And I'm okay with that because I get enough leads here. If you're not getting enough leads to be able to hear the word no, your marketing and advertising are being done wrong. You need to be able to have no's and feel okay with it. Not every job is the job you need. You need the ones that want you. Well, need you. Let's say that. You only need the jobs where they need you. And the people that need you are going to let you know really quick. They're easy to find when you can go and not care if you get a job. Because I remember the early ones.
Right.
Like the first bigger job I landed, I was still like working for a company, and I had to go and be like, hey, I need this week off so I can go do this project. And I don't know how I won it. I asked him, I was like, why'd you go with me? You were like really passionate, right? Like my sales skills suck. My installation skills suck. I would hate to go look at that house now. I'm sure I would just be like, oh, Kyle, what were you doing? But you can win projects when you're truly happy about what you're doing. And so like, you don't have to, but I was like, I was needy then. Like I'd have done anything to get a project because I was just trying to get something off the ground. And so now years down the road with that experience and that knowledge, like being able to go and almost having like an arrogance about me of like, right. Like I've seen a set of stairs. Yours is nothing special. Like, I don't care. Like it's $5,000,
right?
Whatever. And they're like, don't you like want, I want your job, but only if you like want me to like, only if you want me to come and do your job. Like, here's what it's going to cost. Here's how we have to do it. Here's my rules for how this goes, and I get to dictate it, right? I'm not. You can't let the homeowners dictate your life, and I think that's a big lesson to learn. In that, a lot of times guys go in and they're like, "Well, you need to install this, and you need to do over here, and I need you to start with this." And you're just like, that doesn't make sense for the layout. It doesn't make sense for my schedule. It's going to slow me down. Like if I don't get to go in and dictate the terms, I don't want to work with you. And I'm not going to work with you. What's that been like on your end? Because you're designing and then you're kind of like, I think you have a healthy relationship with your contractors, and you're the designer that, like you said, you're calling up Timothy and you're asking him questions, right? Like you're looking for like, how does this make the most sense for you? You're not the designer that's coming in
Yes.
and like, I don't care if it can't go on the wall. Find a way to put it on the wall. Like I know that's not you, but you're like, can you find a way to make it go on the wall? Like you're wanting to
Right.
work together, right? It's a team effort, not a just
It is.
dictatorship.
It is, and there's so much behind the scenes. I never sell a design that hasn't been quote approved by the installer. And
Okay.
that could be a tile installer, it could be, you know, even carpet, LVP, I mean anything, literally anything. I don't submit a design, an idea to the client until I can absolutely 100% say that it's going to work. And it's part of setting that clear expectation. And I think that the guys that I work with, they like that because they're not showing up to a job site and hearing the design for the first time, you know, and they're not showing up and, oh yeah, it's this 10-foot shower with 2x10s. And by the way, it's in herringbone. So, you know, oh, sorry, we can't do anything about the price. You already quoted me, you know, like there isn't anything like that. And so I think that there's a lot of, you know, I think that it's the way that I was professionally raised. You know, in the remodeling industry, in the construction industry, my old boss, he started off as an installer, and he ran his business as an installer. And I wanted to be, you know, I don't want to be an installer. Don't I don't want to be an installer, but I want to have a good relationship with all of the installers, and I want to understand the process, and I want to, I feel that if I understand the process well, then the design is just going to be impeccable, you know, and there isn't going to be, you know, those little slivers of tile on one end or at the top or the bottom, or, you know, sheet lines, my God, or, you know, T-molds here, you know, there's just so many little details that if we hash it out and we plan for it in the design, it's just going to go smoothly. And, you know, it's not, I've gone from, you know, being needy to being needed. And I think that that's a huge shift emotionally and just overall, you know, and it's because of that, because my mind has just gone from, okay, if we can't do it, then we can't do it, back to the drawing board.
Yeah, but it's so much easier, like you said, right? You're sleeping better now. You're more relaxed. You're not as stressed out. Not that running a business doesn't stress you out, but there's a level of like, I can manage here, but I think a lot of us, we get like way up here and we're just like, oh, this is normal. It's not normal. It doesn't have to be this way.
No,
please don't live there. Don't.
It doesn't have to be like that. And you can do, you know, why do I have to do 3 big jobs at the same time? Can I do 3 little jobs that are going to amount to the same amount, you know, the same invoice amount? You know, can I do, you know, 3 little jobs over the course of a month instead of 2 gigantic jobs over the course of 6 months that is just going to drag out because I don't have the time and the energy for it? It's just priorities. And I think that a lot of it is getting to know my client before they become my client. And again, it's part of that, you know, knowing the client red flags. And you know, I think it's helping them understand the process of, you know, right now, curbless showers are the thing and everyone wants them. And they're like, okay, well, why is it $2,000 more? Or why is it, you know, they don't understand why it's so much more expensive than this. And so, usually a lot of times a designer will just be like, I don't know. Let me ask the, I'm not sure why. I don't know why we can't just make it, why it's not just the same price. And so I think that being able to have those technical questions on the spot, I think it validates me, but I think that it also gives the client comfort knowing that I'll be able to be that liaison between contractor and them, and that I'm not just going to be a pushover about it either.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that's a huge tip, is that don't give a wrong answer just to give an answer. If you don't know the answer, don't hide it. Admit you don't know the answer. Say, I can't answer that right now, but I'll get back to you with an answer by tomorrow at 2 or 5 or however long you need, right? But you should have a network of people. I have a huge network. You have a network. Like, you should have a network of people that if you don't know something, you can reach out to and get the answer. I don't care if you're going to use the NTCA, NWFA, CFI, NFIC, you're going to call another local installer, you're going to call an installer across the country. Right. Find somebody. Like, somebody's going to know the answer. Like, there's no reason not to be able to come up with an answer, and then it looks good to the client. Like, oh, hey, I didn't know, but let me go get educated to be able to get you the right answer. Looks way better than giving them some answer. They ask the next guy that comes through, they give a completely different answer. Maybe both of you are wrong. Then the client goes online and actually looks up the right answer, and now you all look like fools.
Right.
If you don't know, you don't know. Once it goes back to that, like, setting boundaries and just being honest with people. Like, if you don't want to do something and you have something scheduled, just tell them. Like, any client that doesn't understand that I decided to have kids and they're important to me, I don't want to work with you. If you're going to tell me that your project is more important than why I run my business so that I can make money to support my family, I don't want to work with you. I don't care if your job is worth $1 million over the next 6 months. I don't want your money. I will go find it elsewhere, even if it's less. I don't care. It's not worth dealing with someone that doesn't respect me.
Exactly.
All right. Anything you think we missed?
No, I don't think so. Love the show. Thank you for always, posting thought-provocative posts and always, giving feedback. And I think that being able to think of certain things in a different way, that it's the same. It's like different but same.
Yeah.
It helps so much, and I think that it's guys like you and the TTP guys and the GTP guys and just the entire community has really been helpful to me in getting here. Like, it wasn't just me that was like, I'm going to do this because I'm super smart. No, I needed the help, and I reached out to other designers in the industry and other installers and friends, and how are you doing things? And, trying to get bits and pieces, because the grass is greener on the other side every single time. And I want my grass green. I wanted to be the Joneses. I wasn't trying, so it's been great. And I love catching up with you on the podcast and on Facebook. And so I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
And everything that you do for our community. It doesn't go unnoticed. I hope you know that.
Thank you. Sometimes it feels that way, but that's okay. Like, that's my perception, and that's no, I appreciate it. Thank you for the very kind words. Where can people find you?
Nico Tati Designs across all social media platforms, a website, TikTok. I'm in Dallas, I'm easy to find. Just my phone number is blasted everywhere. So yeah.
Okay. Texas Tile Posse, Global Tile Posse. She's in there. Hit her up. Folks, that's going to do it for us this week. Check out flooracademypod.com. Check out the shop. I got some new hoodie designs. It's becoming fall as this episode comes out. So go get your Profit is Not a Dirty Word hoodie. There's also t-shirts available. You can help support the show by going to patreon.com/Floor Academy. Even $5 a month goes a long way in helping us do what we do. Check out the YouTube and do me a favor. If this show helps you, when you see the post in the Facebook group or anything like that, or on, you see like a post on Instagram, give it a like for me, leave a little comment, like help the algorithm pick up the content so that it gets pushed out further so that this show can continue to grow and help other people. I know we focus on like floors and showers around here, but if you know a plumber or a drywaller that's just not doing so well, let them listen. Tell them about the show. It'll help them. We're doing contracting. The business lessons are all the same. We're just talking the flooring stuff. But with a little thought, you're gonna switch the main idea. You're gonna find a way to apply it to your business in a different aspect of an industry, and you'll get them moving forward too. Let's elevate the trades. Let's show people how sexy they are. I hit the darn mic again. And let's just, I want kids to see that this is an awesome place to be. I'm not happy with what's going on and oh, the kids are lazy. Look, maybe they are, but they don't know how much fun we get to have. And if you're not having fun, breaking people's houses and then like putting new things in, I'll tell you, just go find a new job. Okay. Go find something you enjoy. Because am I sick of installing rectangles? Yes, I am. But at the end of the day, like, I make a difference in somebody's home and I make their dream come true. And that's really rewarding. I would love to be able to give the next generation an opportunity to do that if they wanted to work with their hands. So let's elevate this trade. Let's have successful businesses that can pay well, give benefits, provide a way that, like, it's never going to go away. Right? There's always going to be this skill. I don't see robots installing floors or showers anytime soon. And so
not yet.
It's like we're needed. It's nearly recession proof. Like, okay, people don't necessarily want to do home upgrades, but you can do something with the skills. If you can use a saw to do flooring, you can probably use a saw to do framing. Like, you can learn it, right? You can start turning it into other things. And so let's make trades look sexy. It needs to be done. No one's doing it. Go out in the world, show everybody that trades are sexy. Listen to the show. Go on YouTube. You can see the video. Angie's had a little guest in her background all evening. She's going to go dance with it after this. You only get to find out if you go check out the YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I'd really appreciate it. Other than that, we'll catch you next week. Angie, thank you for joining us.